And if you're watching this and you know that you don't like Purito, I don't understand why you're watching this video. Hey, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel where we talk all about gentle products that are friendly to your skin. And today I am talking about the brand new Purito Daily Go-To Sunscreen. This has been one of the most anticipated releases in K-beauty, especially since the Purito Centella sunscreens were pulled off the market at the end of 2020. We have been waiting to see what Purito was going to do next in the SPF category. I've gotten my hands on this sunscreen. I have been testing it out and I am so ready to share with you not only all my thoughts about this product, but all my emotions too, because this is, a little bit of a different kind of product release after everything that happened with sunscreen and K-beauty last year. So if you guys are so ready to get the video started, give it a big thumbs up. And if you love this review, if it helps you out, you get value from it, and you want to see some more content from me, don't forget to hit subscribe anytime during the video. All right, let's jump right into it. As you know, Purito did pull their incredibly popular Centella sunscreens and their comfy water block off the market at the end of 2020. Now, this was kind of the first sunscreen or the first brand to fall in the whole K-beauty sunscreen debacle. The sunscreens were claiming to be an SPF of 50, but in independent testing, depending on which methodology you use, it was coming out to be closer to an SPF of 20 or an SPF of 30. After that, it was countless brands, one after the other, that was caught up in this issue and were pulling their sunscreens off the market. I mean, we had like 3 solid months there where there was like one product every single week that was being discontinued because of this issue. So I wanted to get all of that out of the way before I shared with you how I felt about testing this sunscreen, because it wasn't as simple as that looks like an interesting product, let me test it, try it, review it on my channel. There are emotions involved in this one. I don't know how I feel about these new Purito sunscreen products, and I'm not exactly sure how other people are going to feel about it, because there are some strong opinions about this brand and I totally respect and understand that. And even I was like, can I trust them going forward? I'm not, even though I know that the issue is so much more complicated than just one brand, even still, I'm like, is this gonna do what they're saying it's gonna do? Can I trust them still? And ultimately, I did feel like I could. I did feel positively that this was a brand I could go forward with, mostly due to the fact that because they were front and center of this scandal, right? Because of that, they have so much to lose. They have so much on the line by getting back into the sunscreen game. I felt like, okay, I think that whatever sunscreen product that they come out with, they are going to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, and be 100% certain that this sunscreen is doing what the label says it's going to do. And one more thing I promise before we get into the review, just a little bit of like a transparency housekeeping kind of thing. I want to let you know that I did purchase this sunscreen myself. I did not receive it for free from the brand. I am not under sponsorship at all. I have no relationship with the brand when it comes to this sunscreen release. However, I will let you know I have had a sponsorship with this brand in the past. This year, I've done 2 videos for Purito for different skincare products that they have released this year, but I am not under any type of relationship or obligation with the brand for this particular product. I think that that's important to understand as we go forward with my opinions in this review. All right, let's jump into the ingredients. This is considered a hybrid sunscreen, meaning that they're using both chemical and mineral filters. So all of the chemical filters being used here are considered new generation chemical filters, which means they're a little bit more advanced, they're a little bit more protective, and they're a little bit gentler on the skin. So the 3 that are being used here include Tinosorb S, which has UVB and UVA protection. And this is actually regarded as one of the best chemical filters available on the market today. We also have Uvinyl T150. This covers the UVB spectrum, and we also have Uvinyl A+, which covers UVA. Now these 2 filters, these were actually the 2 original filters that were found in the Purito Centella sunscreens. Now remember, those old sunscreens, those were purely chemical sunscreens that were using these 2 filters. So we do have the addition of the Tinosorb S on the chemical chemical side. And on the mineral side, we have titanium dioxide, which covers UVB and some UVA. So you can see when all four of these filters come together, we've actually got really excellent protection for UVB, UVA1, and UVA2. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the reason why I was going to trust Purito was because I knew they were going to have to come correct if they wanted to enter the sunscreen market again. And so they had this sunscreen independently tested twice in Korea, but also in the US. And I'm going to link those in the info box below. If you want to read the actual reports, Purito has made all of that available to us. And I do want to let you know, I'm going to tell you what the results are, but I want to remind you that each country has different methodologies for testing sunscreens. So that's why there's going to be a difference in the numbers. It's just due to how they test them. Now, in Korea, the independent testing came back with an SPF of 57.4 and a PFA or a PPD of 16.6. The US test came back with an SPF of 71.4 and a PFA or PPD of 17.9. All right, texture. I was really excited when I squeezed this out of the tube because it was hauntingly familiar. It so reminded me of the original Centella sunscreen. And I think so many of us are really wanting there to be the exact dupe with just the right amount of SPF, right? I will kind of shatter that illusion for you right now. This is not a direct dupe for that at all. It looks similar, but it does not have the same. It's just not the same. So let me get into it. So it's creamy. It's got really good spread onto the skin. It feels light on my skin. It has really good dry time. Surprisingly, no white cast. With the mineral filter, with that titanium dioxide, I was kind of expecting to see maybe a hint or maybe a tone-up effect or something, but no, no white cast that I could detect on my skin tone. So I was very happy about that. Really nice, application experience, really good spread, good dry time. I didn't get any pilling with this, even on reapplication, second layer, I didn't get any pilling. It works really nicely underneath makeup. Like all of that checks the boxes really, really nicely. But the reason that this is not similar to the original Purito sunscreen is because this actually does have a shiny finish on it that I was very surprised by, almost taken aback by. I was not expecting this to be so shiny. And I'm not even going to use the word dewy. I think there's a difference. I think everybody's line between shiny and dewy is in a different place. Mine, I have a little bit more tolerance for more dewier finishes because I do like that. But I will say this is pretty much straight up shiny. I was really surprised. For me personally, the original was what I called like a neutral finish to maybe slightly dewy, maybe slightly. But on the whole, it was not really a finish that struck me one way or the other. It was just a sunscreen that I could put on and forget about. This one is shiny. I still feel like this is a light wearing sunscreen. And when I say light, I mean how it feels on my skin, not how it looks. How it feels on my skin, it feels like a thin layer. How it looks on my skin is looks like a heavy layer of sunscreen, but it doesn't feel like that. It's just super shiny on the top. So I'm happy with the texture overall just because the application is so like effortless, but that shine, I think that can definitely be a deal breaker for a lot of people. So besides for the texture, the performance of the sunscreen is really good. I gotta hand it to Purito, you know what I mean? They checked most of the boxes with this sunscreen. It's very comfortable and light wearing on my skin. Besides for the dewy finish, which like if I didn't have to look at myself in a mirror, right, I would say this is a sunscreen I can put on and forget about because it doesn't remind my skin that there's this layer of sun protection on it because it's not heavy. It doesn't irritate my skin. Now, I was personally a little bit concerned about trying this just because of the mineral filter component because I have kind of that funky skin. My skin is sensitive, but my skin cannot tolerate mineral filters. Like it just can't. I've tried so many of them in the past and my skin just really does not like mineral sunscreen. Go figure. I have sensitive skin, but mineral filters don't work. Chemical filters work perfectly for me. So that's just what I use because that's what works for me. But I have used hybrid sunscreens in the past with pretty good success. I think it just depends on how much mineral content is in there. And I was really happy with this one. It did not bug my skin. It did not make it feel dry. It did not make it feel tight. It did not make it feel itchy or dehydrated at all. So I was super duper happy with that. Side note, I'm pretty confident that what I'm sensitive to is zinc oxide, not titanium dioxide, because I've actually used just titanium dioxide sunscreens in the past, and my skin is usually just fine with them. So I think it's the zinc that my skin hates. So I do think that this is a nice contender in the hybrid sunscreen kind of area of K-beauty. I do think this is a nice performing sunscreen. As I mentioned, I have been reaching for it a lot. It suits my skin really nicely. There are some issues here, of course. I mean, if you don't want a shiny finish, this is not for you. It may not be for all skin types, but I do think that it'll suit a good majority of skin types, as long as you're okay with a little bit of dewiness or a little bit of shininess. This is not water resistant. This is not sweat resistant. So this is probably not your choice for the beach, for swimming, for playing sports, for sweating a lot. I would not recommend any type of sunscreen with this type of texture for those types of activities. But as I mentioned earlier, I think as a go-to sunscreen for casual sun exposure, I think that this is a nice choice for that. So I paid about $17 for this tube, but I think it was on sale. I saw that the list price is around $21. Now the original Centella sunscreens, I'm not sure what the list price were, but I just remember always getting it like on sale for around $13. So it's a tiny leap up in price, definitely. I think for $17, I think that's a decent price for this particular product. Because it's so brand new, I'm sure we will see a price drop in the future, but I did want to mention that this is a little bit pricier than the other sunscreen products from Purito. So the question you may be wanting me to answer is, did this Purito Daily Go-To sunscreen replace the unscented Centella sunscreen in my heart of hearts? No, that's my short answer. No, I don't think so. But here's the long answer. I'm going to start off with a sidebar. We're going to go over here for a second. I actually don't think that Purito intends this sunscreen to be a replacement for the original Centella sunscreens, because they have announced that they are releasing 3 sunscreens. So this hybrid is just the first release. They're also going to be going for a mineral sunscreen and a fully chemical sunscreen. And that's the release that my eyes are going to be on as a potential replacement, right? A worthy contender for the Purito Centella throne, if you will. I also will say they got this product to market incredibly quickly. So quickly, in fact, that I have a sneaking suspicion, no confirmation, but just a sneaking suspicion this product was probably in development before the whole scandal, right? The way that they got this to market in less than a year after pulling the original Centella sunscreens off the market with all that independent testing, it makes me think that this was already something that they were at least at the beginning stages of developing in 2020. So just like you, I am cautiously taking a step forward with Purito sunscreens, right? I'm dipping my toe in the pool, trying to see if it's safe to get in. Nobody wants to get burned, right? Like figuratively, literally burned, emotionally burned. Nobody wants it, right? So we're all a little cautious, right? And so I want to share the emotional aspect of this, because I can't be the only one who's feeling like, I don't know how I feel about the situation. I can't be the only one who is, right? This is not your average sunscreen review. And I'm not here to advocate for the brand. I am not here to change anybody's minds. If you are mad, if you are still mad, if you actually got burned by this, I so respect that strong opinion that you have about this. I so respect that you will never be able to trust this brand or other brands going forward. I really do understand that. I do, and I respect that. I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to share how I'm feeling right now. This is just my perspective. And as I said earlier, Purito is, if they're gonna come back into the sunscreen market, because they're the ones that got the most criticism, they're the ones that got the most hate, they are literally the face of this scandal, right? They know they have to come correct. And I personally feel like they came correct. And that's actually something I've heard a lot of people in the community say, is that they will trust this brand going forward because of the way they responded to the scandal issue, right? And I think especially the way that they're handling this sunscreen release, with the transparency, with the independent testing that we can all look at, I do think that that is all the right the step in the right direction. I think that they've handled this with grace, and in the past they have definitely shown, even before this whole issue, they have shown that they are a brand that is willing to listen, that is willing to learn, and that is willing to get better. Not every brand that was implicated in this has shown that type of behavior at all. Some have acted atrociously, right? Absolutely. And like I said before, I totally understand if you don't want to give your money to Purito ever again. I totally do. I get that. That's not where my heart is at personally, but I do understand that because I have felt that way about other brands. Ultimately, Purito won my sunscreen business back because I have jaded confidence in them. I'm bluntly honest about this. If they screw this up, they are over as a brand, right? If they have another sunscreen issue, another scandal, I don't think their brand is going to exist anymore. They have so much riding on the line. They are under intense scrutiny. More so than some of the other brands, I think unfairly so. But that's just the reality of the situation. If this sunscreen fails, I don't think that Purito is going to exist as a brand anymore. I just think that they're going to lose so many customers. So they have a lot riding on the line. And like I said, it's jaded, but that's what makes me trust them. And, their history as a brand definitely too. So I guess my TLDR, right? The real breakdown of this product. I think it's a solidly performing sunscreen. I'm being super hard on it for the shininess factor, but ultimately the texture is really nice. It applies really nicely. No white cast, which is huge. It does not pill on the skin, which is huge, right? These are major problems that happen in lots of sunscreens, but they have nailed the texture down really nicely. It is shiny, kind of on par with the Can Make Mermaid sunscreen. So if you're okay with that, you're going to be okay with this. If you're not okay with that, this may not be for you. I think it'll suit most skin types, but if you don't like that shiny finish, be aware. The sunscreen was tested independently twice in 2 different countries, and the SPF came out looking pretty good. The PPD is technically a PA+4 PPD, but just barely, right? So if you're looking for better PPD coverage, this sunscreen is not for you. But personally, I feel comfortable with this as my daily sunscreen because I get very casual sun exposure. So this is perfect for that. But if you're somebody who works outside or is in high UV conditions, this is not for you. If you're going to be sweating a lot, this is not, water resistant. This is not sweat resistant at all. This sunscreen is not going to be for you. This is purely for, I think, casual sun exposure. And in that sense, the name is perfect. Daily go-to sunscreen. That's the type of sunscreen that this is. So have you tried this sunscreen yet? I was a little late on my review. It took me a while to get my hands on it. So I'm sure some of you have already used it. I'm curious to know what you think about it. Or if you haven't used it, I'm curious to know if you think you're going to get it in the future. Just let me know all your thoughts in the comment box below. If this video was helpful to you, you made it all the way to the end of this long video, but you haven't hit subscribe yet, what are you doing? We have a connection going, right? Hit subscribe. I do release lots of new skincare content throughout the week, so don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on any new content from me. I hope you guys are healthy, happy, and safe. I cannot wait to see you in the next video, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.